everything enclosed, and the women are a certain time and the men are a certain time. Of course, we have more men, so they have more time. And the showers were great. They had put tanks on top of the building and smokers down on the bottom to heat the water up. It was great. The showers were great. And let's see.
So this was until April?
Yes, we stayed out there until April, and then April we went
sent your group back?
We went back to Cobar Towers, and we were transferred out of there by plane.
Back to the States?
Picture. Yes, back to Wisconsin, and then we met our families at Wisconsin. That those of them who knew, because I didn't know, my family didn't meet me, but I did get a chance to see the woman that sent me a whole lot of Kool-Aid, which I loved. Because we had bottled water and we were drinking warm water. The pops we couldn't drink under a certain temperature because it throws off some kind of gas or something, they said. So that was before we got our reefers. The reefers is where is the coolest place, the trucks that have air coolant on them as a refrigerator. Boy, did we stack that place when it first got there. And our trailers that we had to, because we had trailers to interview the prisoners to find out the information, because each one of the prisoners we had to fill out a Red Cross card for.
Now this was in the States?
No, this was out on the desert when we were in processing out, processing prisoners. That was part of the in processing out processing. We had to have a Red Cross card to let their families back home know they're still alive, because they do check the Red Cross. What's the other? After we come back to the States, of course, we're all debriefed from there. And then we came home, and as we came home, we came home by bus. We didn't fly. And by bus from Fort McCoy to the Inkster. They were timing everything. The commander knew exactly what time we were supposed to be in. As we crossed the border into Michigan, that was a crying time for me because that's when I started. We had an escort of state police all the way from the border of Michigan. As soon as we crossed that border in Ohio, we had a police escort all the way to the center. Every county stopped, and whomever took over from which point it was for all the counties, they just let us all in.
What was the purpose of that?
Because we were soldiers coming home from that war, and the war had ended.
Yeah.
So the whole bus, all the buses we had, in fact, we even stalled in one town because they said they weren't ready or something wasn't ready. Commander got that word. He didn't tell us that though until we got back to the center. And then we went, the police escorted us all the way to the field, down the street from the school field, down the street from the reserve center.
Now this is in Inkster.
In Inkster. And when we got off the bus, all our family could see us, and my old unit 424 was there. Those were my buddies to see, and I was happy to see them. And none of my people were there because I didn't know. I guess I missed that meeting.
Now, when you came back from Operation, what was it called?
Operation Desert Storm. Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
That was the time. Oh, that was the time that you served doing active
duty, right?
And then you stayed in the reserves.
Right. When I was let off of active duty in June from Desert Storm, I went back to my regular duties in reserves. And soon after we came back, 301st was divided into two units, 783rd and 785th. And I was in 783rd. We had two different commanders, two different everything. And
now you were on reserve duty until you retired? Is that it?
No, I was reserve until, I think, 96. And then from 96 to 98, I was in the control group because 96 Army was short of money and they were downsizing from the Army, and I was one of the downsized because I had a younger person under me that they wanted to run the computer section rather than me. And I said, fine. But the only thing that really made me upset was the person who told me was a captain. And I had been taught through my whole career that it's a chain of command you go through. My first sergeant didn't talk to me. My command sergeant major didn't talk to me. No one talked to me except that captain. And I was having classes at the time. He called me into his room to tell me, we don't need you anymore. And wouldn't you like to be home in time for church on Sundays all the time now? I said, I go to church here. But we're downsizing, and we're downsizing you out.
So you were retired?
I was put into the control group because he gave me a choice of being in the control group or just completely retiring out of the service. I said, okay, I'll go in the control group. And I still had to perform AT, annual training, every year. And
what does control group mean?
Control group means that if they need you during wartime, they pull your number. And they go by your MOS, and they looked at my MOS, and my MOS was computers. So my first duty that I had was Washington.
What they called you back for?
Yes, I was in the control group, and the guy says that you have to do your annual training every year. You know, your 2 weeks. I said, okay, what's the next training I can go to? And I told him what my MOS was, and he says, okay, we got an opening in Washington. It was actually in Virginia. And I got my duty
for 2
papers,
weeks.
and then 2 weeks I was there. And I was in a section that was highly secret. It was troop movement. And I worked there for 2 weeks and lived across the street at the Holiday Inn. Got a chance to visit my girlfriend in Maryland. It was fun.
You did this until you retired from the service altogether.
Right. I was drilling with other units. And my last unit was Korea. They were supposed to be sending everyone to Korea. And they had chose me. And then when I get down to Texas, where we were all supposed to leave from, I guess it was because of my age, I don't know. But this commander was very rude to me and wouldn't tell me why he wouldn't send me over there. But it was to do the same duty I had done in Saudi. Anyway, he found a way to say that I wasn't fit enough to go. So I was sent home. And I went home and talked to my JAG officer because I was still upset over that. You know, he kept telling me I had a blood disease. I said, how is it I got a blood disease and my doctor knows nothing about it? Because I have, every 2 weeks I was taking blood tests. Plus I had went through the HIV testing before I got there. And he's telling me I had some kind of strange disease. I said, I know what that was. That was just a lie. So I didn't worry about it. I still got the post, so I was happy.
So when did you retire from the service?
They have me at February 19th, 98. That was when all my paperwork and everything was finished. And that ended up being my dead sister's birthday. So I can remember that all the time.
And so you're considered retired military.
I'm retired military, full benefits.
And were you at the age where you could collect your retirement right away?
No, for reservists you had to be 60.
60, right. So how many years did you have to wait for?
I had to wait